Hi, I'm Greg Brown. I have a bee yard in what's called Marble Hill, Georgia. We're actually real close to several nice things. There's a garden to the south of me that's a public gardens that are on one property line. I have a clover field as another property line. I have apple and pear orchards behind me here, and then across the street I have another apple orchard. 3 years ago I moved them to here. I brought 2 hives with me. I am now up to 12 active hives, and then I have 3 that are empty right now. I am getting ready. Tomorrow I'm going to pick up 4 nukes to set out on equipment that I have ready to set out for 4 more hives, and then I'm going to actually do 3 walk-away splits. I've been out of town for the last 2 weeks, so this is my first day back to check on all the hives. I actually had to add another honey super to one hive that's doing really well, and one of the hives that I had put some brood in before I left, eggs and brood. I'm going to go inspect it and see if it's raised a queen or if I need to actually purchase a queen and put one in now that I'm back in town and there's queens available for purchase. So my typical setup that I use on all my hives, so I keep the same equipment throughout, is I do 2 brood boxes out of larges, and then when I do honey supers, I use mediums. I tend to always put a queen excluder between the larges and the medium to keep the queen out from the honey supers. We have the equipment where we'll harvest honey and everything, so that it's all the medium frames. It's easy to swap them in and out. I'm not having to worry about, well, what size box I have on this hive, etc., etc. I use the telescoping lids on all of them with metal. Middle of the summer, when it gets really hot, I will take and put pennies on top of the lid and put it under the telescopic lid to give it a little bit of ventilation on days when it's really hot, mid-summer. My typical setup is I use 42 by 42 pallets, and I can put 3 hives on each pallet. It leaves me a corner where I can set equipment, set the hive top when I'm working on it, etc., at each pallet, so I have a place to work off of, so I'm not putting it on the actual ground. This is the hive that we it made it through the whole winter, and then the week before I left to go out of town, I looked and it didn't have any freshly laid eggs or brood in it, so I had put a frame in it, and then they came out of another hive that had a couple of good areas of freshly laid eggs. I came back the following week. I think I came back about 6 days later, and 7 days later actually, and one of the they had started building queen cells and actually had them built up pretty good. And then right before I left to go out of town, the day before I left to go out of town, which was another, I think, 7 days, if I remember correctly, they had, one of the queens had hatched and actually went and broke open the other 2 cells to kill their rivals, I guess you would say. So that's been 10 days ago. We left on, I did that on Wednesday, and then we left and went out of town for 10 days, and so this is actually the 12th day since I've been in here. So we're going to see if they've done smoking the hive. Everybody has seen the guys walk around with a smoker. I tend to use, we get a plethora of Amazon boxes, and so I tend to use the virgin cardboard that doesn't have any printing or anything on it. I'll tear out the panels. They're just plain brown cardboard, and that's what I use to for my smoke. I find it does a little bit better, and it's my form of recycling, I guess, instead of burning pine straw. So I'm putting some smoke at the base of the hive. I let it usually sit for a minute or so. Usually what I'll do is I'll go through, say I'm going to work these 3 hives, I'll go around and smoke all 3 of them, and then I'll come back and to the first one, because it'll be a couple minutes later and it'll give them time to be prepared for me to open the hive. So pollen in on this frame, so you know they're working. They haven't done anything on the back side, which is the side against the brood box. And so, well, you want to start on an edge and work to the center. That way you wind up with some space between the frames, and you don't worry about damaging your bees. It gives them room so that you can slide them over a little bit and pull them out without them rubbing the frame beside them. And there you see the, they have actually, since I've been in here, they've actually done another queen cell, which looks like it's down at the bottom like it would be a superseder cell themselves. Let's see if I can find, you know, I see where they're doing some drone brood and capping them off. Usually when I go in, if I see, this is called burr comb, I scrape this off because it's not really of any value. It's too screwed up for them to put honey in. It makes them where they'll, you know, they'll stick the hive together if you're not careful, if you don't do away with it. So I'm actually seeing a couple of cells that look like they're superseder cells, which that one's actually open. So I'm going to put this back together and leave it alone for a couple of days and come back and inspect it. That was kind of unexpected. They had done that while I was out of town. There's a chance the first queen didn't make it back, or you know, when she went out for a maiden flight. So I'm going to. It looks like they're busy trying to make a replacement. So I'm going to give it a. I'll probably give it to Saturday and come back again and look at Saturday and see if one of those has opened up and destroyed the other ones, etc. There's not enough bees in here for me to be worried about them trying to swarm or whatever, but it is a matter of them being queen right. If you know, a hive splits, they create a new queen, and the old queen and a portion of the hive leaves and goes somewhere else, and the new queen and what's left stays here. And that is a natural part of bees, but you know, if it happens at the wrong time, it'll make it where this hive won't have any honey in the summer. So you try to keep them from doing it in the spring, or catch it early enough that you can do something with it and maybe move that hive to another box, split it yourself, and then stay with you instead of going somewhere else. People capture them. I haven't caught any this year, but I've been out of town. But you know, see postings on Facebook all the time where people, I have bees, will somebody come and get them? And there's actually a website on the Forsyth Bee Club site that numbers for all the clubs around us, or members that are in the club, that you can call somebody and they'll come get the swarm. Most of the time what you do is you just catch, try to get them to drop into a box and hope that when you get the mass of them to come to it, that the queen comes with the mass. And it's pretty quick that you'll see if the queen has fallen with the mass of bees, the rest of the bees will start coming in to follow her based on her pheromones that she's emitting. But this is kind of interesting. I'm not seeing any fresh eggs in there, but one of the things I've noticed is they're actually pretty calm. So it makes me think that they do have a queen that's in the process of getting ready to start laying. Like I said, I'll come back. Okay, so this is the hive I haven't been in this morning. I had went through most of the rest of them before we started filming. I left this one alone until we started filming. One thing that I didn't mention is I have ratchet straps on all of my hives. We're in bear country, so you have to be a little wary of that. Haven't had any problems with raccoons, but we're only about 4 miles from Big Canoe, and if you're on Facebook at all in this local area, you're always seeing people doing videos for bear and also other varmints. If they ever figure out they're here and they can get into them, then you start having to worry about, like I said, raccoons and whatever. Okay, so I've undone my ratchet strap, dropped it off the front. I put a little bit of smoke in the front like we talked about doing. I usually take my hive tool and kind of work around a little bit, stick up under there and try to get the inner cover to stay on, not come up without it. And that way you can turn around and put just a little bit of smoke there. I was having problems with my inner cover sticking to the telescoping cover, so when I switched them over to spring, I took some of the wax paper and actually stuck them in a couple of places just as a something to have it where it's separated so it wouldn't stick to the inner cover. This is propolis that they have. The bees will build up to, as you can see it's all around here. That's the bees' way of trying to seal up the hive. And every so often you have to go in and clean it off. But, I'll usually do that when we do a honey harvest and I'm taking hives off. I'll turn around and scrape a lot of the sugar off. The propolis off. So you can look down in there and you will see that the bees are doing really well on this hive. I would say I need to add another honey super to this one. Let me pop one of these out so you can see it. They have harvested they're actually starting to cap. See how pretty that is, where it's all nice brand new comb they're making, and then they've already started capping some of it where it's full, and they've lowered the moisture level for it to be capped honey. So it's ready to be harvested. I won't harvest it until you tend to wait till this white, that's the capping of it. You tend to wait until about 85 to somewhere between 85 and 95% of it's capped before you pull it and harvest it. You know, and there'll be honey in these 2 boxes too. When it all ends at the end of the season, you'll work to make sure there's at least these 2 boxes. When you lift up on them, you can feel that there's at least 50 pounds of weight to them, and that's enough. Should be enough weight for them to make it through a typical Georgia summer. I mean, it's Georgia winter. This year it wasn't. We had a couple of long frost spells, and so they really went through a lot of the fondant because they had ate up all their stores. So it is something you have to be aware of. You know, especially if there's a lot of rain or a late cold snap. What happens is they have started building up the level of bees to go out and work, and all of a sudden it comes in and rains like it did this past week, 5 or 6 days in a row or whatever, and they're stuck in the hive, and they'll go through their food stores really quick because they can't get out to bring more food in. So especially in the early spring, you have to be really aware of what's going on with your bees if you want them to survive. I'm going to go get another honey super and sit on this one. So what I like to do when I add supers for the bees is I like to swap some frames from the 2 together. Some people call it checkerboarding. You know, there's different opinions about it, but what I put some new frames in, I put some old frames, put some frames that have been harvested off of so that they have a jump on wax already being built. But typically what I do is I take out the middle 4 and set them down here and get to them easy. And I take 4 frames out of this one. And what I do is when I take one out, I put one between the 2, put one, take out 2 more, put one in, put a space, put one more. And when I come back to here, I do the same thing. I put that way you get bees all up into the new hive. You don't have to worry about swapping the boxes or whatever. And hopefully they'll keep working. When I come back in next week to check my hives, I'll inspect to make sure they're putting nectaring in all of them. And if I need to, I'll rotate the ones on the outside to the center to make it, to get them to finish filling them up. But both of these are being worked real well. And both these already had pre-drawn comb from last year, so they should start putting nectar in them pretty quick. There you go. And that's got it back together, and I'm pretty happy with all of them. This one, I'll actually get back into it at the end of the week. The rest of them, I'll probably leave alone till Monday or Tuesday of next week. I've been through all the rest of them. I will be back here tomorrow to set the 4 nukes out, and I might go ahead and look in that one again then. Just I need to keep an eye on it to make sure that they go back to laying. I don't like to look at them in every day, but those super cedar cells are kind of a question mark. I'll probably actually call one of the other members from the club today and get their opinion on what's the best thing to do about it. here that are kind of floating around, those are called orientation flights. That's where they're just at their part in their life cycle to start going out and foraging. They when they first come out of the hive, they orientate by floating around in front of that, and sets up their internal GPS, for lack of a better term. And then the bees that are down here that you see coming in and out, if you look at their rear legs, some of them have pollen on. See, there was one right there. See how it has that bright yellow on the back of their legs, bringing pollen in. Some of them are bringing nectar in because we're already into the good part of the nectar flow. And you know, that's a healthy hive. When you see them coming in and out like that, you've got a good portion in front of orienting. That's a good hive. Thanks for watching. Hope